The air inside the Rosemont Horizon in Illinois crackles with anticipation. Over 9,000 fans are packed into the arena, their voices merging into an electrified roar as they await a highly anticipated showdown. The event is WrestleMania 2, an unprecedented spectacle spanning 3 cities in one night, a testament to the ever-growing empire of Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation. Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid, collectively known as the British Bulldogs, are at the pinnacle of their partnership, about to engage in an all-out war against the Dream Team, consisting of Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake for the Tag Team Championships. This will prove to be a bout that showcases everything they were: relentless, innovative, and possessing an energy that could not be contained. Davey Boy's raw power and Dynamite's unparalleled speed and precision blend into a seamless force, unlike anything the tag team division has seen before. And after a devastating headbutt, the match is over. The Bulldogs are victorious, their arms raised in triumph as the crowd erupts. They have arrived, not just as champions, but as icons of a golden era. Tonight, the World Wrestling Federation belongs to them. But wrestling's highs are often fleeting. For all their greatness inside the ring, the Bulldogs were burdened by a destructive reality outside of it. The physical toll of their high-impact style, the temptations of the road, and the creeping influence of drugs and alcohol would slowly unravel their lives. The rise was spectacular, the fall would be tragic. As much as the world remembers their championship triumph, their story is ultimately one of potential cut short, of choices made in the shadows of fame that would lead to their untimely demise. Before they were champions, they were just 2 boys from England with a dream. Born in Goulburn, Davey Boy Smith and his cousin Tom Billington, known to the world as the Dynamite Kid, hailed from the industrial north of England, where the promise of a wrestling career seemed a world away. It was in the famed Hart Dungeon, under the watchful eye of Stu Hart in Calgary, that they honed their craft. The dungeon was no ordinary training gym. It was a proving ground where only the toughest survived. For the Bulldogs, it was the crucible that forged them into warriors. Dynamite, in particular, took to the brutal style of training with an almost masochistic glee, perfecting his stiff, aggressive technique that would later influence a generation of wrestlers. Davey Boy, while equally tough, relied on his blend of strength and agility, making him a perfect complement to Dynamite's explosiveness. Their talent was undeniable, and soon they found themselves in Stampede Wrestling, the Canadian promotion run by the Hart family. It was here that they built their reputation, engaging in classic battles against teams like the Hart brothers and the Kiwis. Their matches were unlike anything North American audiences had seen: fast-paced, hard-hitting, and breathtakingly athletic. They were redefining tag team wrestling, and it wasn't long before they caught the attention of New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they further refined their skills. But their true destiny lay in the World Wrestling Federation, where Vince McMahon was in the midst of transforming professional wrestling into a global phenomenon. In 1984, McMahon acquired Stampede Wrestling, a deal that not only expanded his empire, but also ushered the British Bulldogs into the burgeoning promotion. The Bulldogs debuted in the Federation just as the company was beginning its meteoric rise. Their first rivalry was with the Hart Foundation, a feud fueled by their deep-rooted history from Stampede Wrestling. Their chemistry translated into a series of electrifying matches that showcased their in-ring mastery and elevated both teams to new heights. The Bulldogs' subsequent rivalry escalated with the Dream Team, culminating in their climactic showdown at WrestleMania 2. With Captain Lou Albano and the legendary Ozzy Osbourne in their corner, the duo triumphed, securing their long-awaited victory and capturing the coveted Tag Team Championships. However, in December 1986, tragedy struck. Billington sustained a severe back injury during a match in Hamilton, Ontario, sidelining him for an extended period. A ruptured disc left him barely able to walk, yet he refused a long hiatus, fearing that stepping away from the ring might cost the Bulldogs their spot. On January 26, 1987, the Bulldogs' reign came to a bitter end when they lost the Tag Team Championship to the Hart Foundation. Billington, severely debilitated, was carried to the ring by Smith but barely participated in the match. Before he could even enter, he was cleverly incapacitated by Jimmy Hart's megaphone. The evil referee Danny Davis turned a blind eye, permitting the Hart Foundation to relentlessly double-team Smith, sealing their victory. After their Federation exit in 1988, tensions escalated with the Rougeau brothers, culminating in a violent backstage altercation where Jacques Rougeau punched Billington, knocking out several of his teeth. Smith went on to have a successful singles career, winning the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 1992 in front of 78,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. But personal struggles loomed, substance abuse haunted him, and the toll became more visible as years went on. Dynamite, however, was not as fortunate. His injuries had caught up to him, and without the Federation behind him, his career rapidly declined. By the late 90s, he was a broken man, physically, emotionally, and financially. Confined to a wheelchair, his body ravaged by years of abuse, he lived out his final years in relative obscurity. He passed away in 2018 at the age of 60. Smith's fate was similarly grim. Despite several comebacks, years of drug use and wrestling had left him in a fragile state. In 2002, at just 39 years old, he suffered a fatal heart attack. His death was a sobering reminder of the dark side of professional wrestling, a cautionary tale of excess and consequence. The British Bulldogs were more than just a tag team. They were pioneers who helped redefine wrestling, inspiring a generation of wrestlers who prioritized speed, agility, and innovation. But their story is also one of tragedy, of lives cut short by choices made in pursuit of greatness. They soared to the top of the wrestling world, but the cost was steep. For all their triumphs, they became yet another tragic story in a business that has seen far too many. As we look back on that night in Rosemont, when they stood tall as champions, we see both the promise and the peril of professional wrestling. Thank you for watching.